moon is quite possibly the most important aspect that you can know in your birth chart. Naturally, no matter how logical we think we are as human beings, we are driven by emotion. And your moon sign tells you what kind of emotions you feel, what emotional patterns you have, and what gives you emotional fulfillment. So not only should you know the sign that your moon is in, but you should also know the house it's in, because that will tell you where you're going to seek that emotional fulfillment and where you can find that emotional fulfillment. So in this video series, I am covering what it means to have the moon in each house. In this video specifically, I'm talking about what it means to have your moon sign in your 7th house. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Isabelle and I'm the personality expert here at Be the Hero. I help you understand who you are because I was someone who did not understand themselves for the life of me. If someone asked me what my desires were, what my values were, how I acted, I would have gone with any answer. If someone told me I was aggressive, I would have said sure. If they said I was the quietest person ever, I'd be like, sounds about right. But then I discovered personality typing. I discovered the Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, and astrology. And for once, I finally saw who I truly was, and who I was made sense. I finally saw what my desires were. So personality typing helped me understand myself, and it helped me grow as a person to fulfill my desires more easily. So that's why today I'm talking about what it means to have your moon in your 7th house, because this is my personal placement that I have in my chart, and realizing this gave me a lot of insight into what it is I'm looking for, and it gave me insight into how my behaviors were coming from this desire, so then I could be more mindful of it and fulfill myself more easily. So in this video, I'm going to cover what it means to have your moon in your 7th house. I recommend checking out my video series on the moon through the signs and watch whatever video it is that you for your moon sign. And watch this video as well if you have a moon in your 7th house, because knowing the combination is really important, because the sign that your moon is in tells you the energy archetype you embrace with your emotions. It shows you what kind of emotions you have, but the house it's in tells you what area of life you have these emotions the most, where your emotions show up the most. And if you're not familiar with the house, if you're not even familiar with what a moon sign is or the moon is in your chart, don't worry, I'm going to cover that all in this video. So first off, what is the moon in your birth chart? So when you first get into astrology, you're likely introduced to your big 3, or you were talking to a friend and they said, what's your big 3? And you're like, Virgo? I don't know, I was born in September. So your big 3 refers to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising. The moon sign is part of that, like I just said. And that's because the moon sign is an extremely impactful planet, and it moves signs every 2.5 days. So your time of birth and your unique day of birth, it really dictates a main part of your personality. The moon sign is your emotions. So where the sun sign is our ego self, it has to do more with our general perception of ourself and how we perceive reality even a little. The moon sign has to do with how you feel. So the sign that your moon is in tells you what kind of emotions you struggle with, how you process emotions, how grounded you are in your emotions, what you seek for emotional fulfillment. But that's the sign that your moon is in. The house tells you where you seek that kind of emotional fulfillment. What is a house anyway? There are 12 houses in astrology, and these 12 houses, if you've seen your birth chart before, you'll see that you have the zodiac wheel on the outside, and then there's like a bunch of Roman numerals on the inside, and those are the houses. And the houses are dictated based off of your time of birth. They will be placed into different zodiac signs. So basically, it's like, I like to think of it as 2 discs. And the zodiac wheel is going to be rotated, and the house wheel will be rotated based off of your time of birth, month of birth, exact date. So your houses are the 12 areas of your life, and they each reflect a different zodiac sign. Knowing that has actually helped me understand the houses a lot, which is why I mention it now. The first house reflects Aries themes of identity, starting the self. The second house represents and reflects themes of Taurus, which has to do with money, and etc. So there are 12 houses, and they each represent the 12 areas of our lives. So knowing the house that your moon is in shows you what area of life you're going to seek that emotional fulfillment. In my example, I have a moon in Cancer, which means I'm an emotional little softie at heart. Unfortunately, I cry very easily. I need a lot of nurturing, and I seek someone who nurtures me a lot. I appreciate people who are very soft and nurturing, and I might even be energetically attracted to people who allow me to be this soft side. Another note about the moon sign is that only the people closest to us tend to see our moon sign. Because it is our emotions, it's a very vulnerable part of ourselves, and so we tend to hide it below the surface to make sure that it doesn't get harmed. So in many ways, the moon sign is like our inner child. So in my example, with a moon in Cancer, I'm looking for nurturing and I'm very soft. Now my moon in Cancer is in my 7th house of partnership, which means I seek emotional fulfillment, specifically emotional fulfillment through nurturing in my relationships. So I'm always going to be chasing relationships that make me feel like I am being nurtured. So that is for my example specifically, and I'm excited to film this video since it's about the moon being in the 7th house, and that's my own placement, since I seem to, at least I think, know this placement very well. So let's dive into what it means in your case for having a moon in your 7th house. The 7th house is all about partnerships. Now, there are multiple different kinds of partnerships that come up when we're talking about the 7th house. Naturally, probably the first one that comes to mind to you is relationships. And yes, the 7th house is absolutely about one-on-one relationships, having a spouse, having a partner, a girlfriend or boyfriend. But it also has to do with business partnerships. The 7th house reflects Libra tendencies. It is representative of Libra. And Libra, as we know, is very much not just about connecting with people, but they're about moral justice. And so they can be very formal. So that's some themes that can come up with the 7th house as well. You want partnerships in every realm, no matter what. So that could be romantic relationships, business partnerships, or friendships. So what does it mean to have your moon in this 7th house of partnership? That means that because the moon is the planet of how we find emotional fulfillment, you seek fulfillment through partnerships. People, as myself, who have a moon in their 7th house can find it hard to do things alone. They naturally think life is lived the best when they have a companion to do things with. These people love just having one-on-one connections with other people. One-on-one connection is actually highly valuable to them. They're not going to be as happy in a group as they will be just sitting with one person having a deep conversation. So the 7th house moon really seeks to have a close connection one-on-one with people, whether that is a friendship or a business partnership or a romantic relationship. So like I said, the 7th house has to do with all kinds of partnerships. However, the relationships romantically are the most prevalent ones. So people with a 7th house moon can tend to jump from one relationship to the next out of fear of being alone. Because they emotionally value support and they emotionally value partnership and connection at all times, why would they go through the work of being alone when it's not fulfilling to them? That just doesn't make sense. So of course they're going to seek out relationships because every time they are in a one-on-one situation with someone, they feel so fulfilled. So there are pros and cons with every moon house combination. The good side for the moon in 7th house is that the moon in 7th house person knows how to make someone feel heard because they value connection so much. They value partnership. They do everything they can to form a close connection with people. They can make you feel special. They can make you feel more important than anyone else. They know how to not throw a party, but how to connect with you one-on-one and have fun as a pair of two. And the downside with that is that the moon in 7th house tends to struggle with being alone, like I said. So if you have a moon in 7th house, notice how often do you allow yourself to be alone? And does it feel uncomfortable? Chances are it probably does due to your soul's unique energetic imprint. I know personally that with this aspect, having a moon in 7th house, I've always grown up around other people, so it's very odd for me to be alone. But when I am, I find myself subconsciously seeking an intense partnership to fulfill that. And it's not that that is bad. I can absolutely, and you can absolutely want that partnership. After all, we need to fulfill our moon sign in order to find emotional fulfillment and be happy. We can't avoid any part of our chart, and we cannot avoid our moon, especially so. So you should seek partnership if you have a moon in 7th house, but notice when it becomes codependency. The best expression of the 7th house is finding the parts of yourself in the other. So that doesn't mean you have to have no sense of self. You shouldn't be codependent on another person. You shouldn't need another person, but you can find fulfillment in them once you found fulfillment with yourself. So I highly recommend for people who have a moon in 7th house to spend more time alone until they are comfortable being alone. And then eventually you'll realize, probably like how I did, that you are your own best companion. You can have, it's actually recently, as Valentine's Day has just passed, there's a Miley Cyrus song that just came out that everyone was obsessed over, including myself, about buying herself flowers, doing everything on her own. So strong, independent woman vibes. But it's something that I found for myself, and other 7th house moons will probably find that if they can learn to do that on their own, their relationships will be much more fulfilling because they need less from other people and they want more from them, and they can just enjoy the company for how they come. So if you have a 7th house moon, notice how much you need partnership and make sure you fulfill that. You might also find yourself more fulfilled by finding other forms of partnership. After all, the 7th house is not just about romantic partnership, it's about friendship and business partnerships. I know that my 7th house moon is very fulfilled by having a sister that I'm so close with and get to work with every single day. So maybe seeking out, instead of romantic partnerships, seek out friendships, seek out companions, seek out business partners who make you feel good. Otherwise, the negative that the 7th house moon can fall into is that they're constantly seeking the one. And they think that someone is going to be the perfect person who they'll spend the rest of their life with, only for them to fade out of the relationship or something happen. They think that they're unlovable. And you probably want to look at, if you have a 7th house moon, what your sign it's in as well, because that shows what kind of partnership you seek. If you have a moon in Virgo in your 7th house, you're going to seek a partner who is very selfless, and you expect them to be as selfless as you. So one thing that the 7th house moon should keep in mind is remember that no one is going to be you in a relationship. So that's why you have to be you for yourself first. Whatever it is you're seeking in a relationship, give to yourself first and expect the other person to just be themselves. This will lead you to being much more emotionally fulfilled and expecting less from other people, so you have less frustration going forward. If this video helped you understand what it means to have your moon in your 7th house, please leave a comment below and let me know. Let me know what your sign and house combination is for your moon in the comments below, and I'll tell you a little bit about what that means. If you want to dive deep into what your moon sign is and so much more, if you have questions about astrology, if you have questions about a specific aspect of your chart, we can totally book a reading by going to the link in the description below to book a 30-minute reading with me for $30. While you're down there, you probably want to grab the free birth chart workbook that guides you through the process of understanding the basics of your birth chart, which includes your sun, your moon, your rising, your Venus, and your Mars. If you're like me, I thought I needed to know all the tiny little asteroids in my chart, every single star, every single point, every single house in order to understand myself. Turns out I just needed to know the basics and apply them better. And once I started applying them, life got a whole lot easier, let me tell you. So grab the free birth chart workbook in the link in the description below. It is free, it is fast. It'll take you probably only 10 minutes to do the whole thing, and you'll have a huge effect afterwards. So grab the free birth chart workbook. While you're down there grabbing the free birth chart workbook, you might want to check out the Making Mindfulness Fun bundle that I have no idea how long we're offering it for, because it has all 30 of our workbooks and courses for only $30. So you can get our chakra healing masterclass, our Enneagram masterclasses, our astrology workbooks, and so much more for each $1. It's an insane deal, and once you buy it, you have it for life. We're not taking it away. We're not going to take it from you. So get the Making Mindfulness Fun bundle now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos on the moon through the houses. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I am Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.